Well, well, hello. Um, phew, what a day. As I said earlier, I wanted to begin every single live presentation with prayer. And my prayer today is thank you, Jesus, for our president, Donald John Trump. Thank you, Father, for being with him last night. Thank you for continuing to be with him. And I just pray that you bless him with peace of mind and peace of heart. And God bless America. Amen. I never want to fail to begin with prayer because I just think everything needs to begin with prayer. Our lives need to begin with prayer every day. I cannot get over what a wonderful job our president did at the State of the Union speech last night. I clapped, I cheered, I cried. It was amazing. The entire thing was amazing. Everything he said, all of the guests, all of the special moments with the soldier coming home from Afghanistan and surprising his family, and the little girl who's going to get a scholarship to go to the school of her choice, and just the 21-week old baby born at 21 weeks, and the whole thing, all of it, everything, that 100-year-old Tuskegee Airman. And I sat there watching that and thinking what a wonderful speech. And the only distraction that I had in that whole speech was Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats sitting on their hands, refusing to clap, refusing to stand. They don't like the president. And we all know this. You don't need to tell us. We figured this out. But you can't stand and applaud a person, a young girl getting a scholarship, 100-year-old Tuskegee Airman. I mean, what is wrong with these people? Well, we know what's wrong with these people. We know it. And we talk about it all the time. And we use the word evil, and some people throw that word around. These people are being driven by demonic spirits. There, I said it. They are in darkness. Darkness hates light. And that is the problem. It's period, the end, that's it. They hate God. They are antichrist. They can't stand Donald Trump because he is the embodiment of a leader. He is the embodiment of what America can be and should be. I mean, he manages to get all these things done in spite of their best efforts to thwart him. They are liars. They are cheaters. They cheat each other. I mean, does anybody really think that Bernie Sanders didn't win the Iowa caucus? I mean, really? Does anybody really believe that? No, of course not. We all know better. We know that he won the Iowa caucus. And maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, it'll come out, actually, he won. Because they want to slow him down. They want to slow down. They know he's going to win New Hampshire. Now, I'll tell you, if he doesn't win New Hampshire, that's really going to be kind of obvious because he's from Vermont and he's well liked there. So you would expect him to win New Hampshire. But I want to get back to the State of the Union because it was brilliant. It was brilliantly executed. It was well written. Everything came together. It was a perfect speech. And you juxtapose that to Nancy Pelosi and the sour grapes people who couldn't even applaud for anything. And then she rips up his speech, like right behind him. He heard it. I like what Vice President Pence said. He said, I didn't know if she was ripping up the speech or if she was ripping up the Constitution. Well, I'm going to submit to you that she was ripping up both. And that's just what I think. I think she was probably ripping up the Constitution. Somebody laughed and said it should have been the articles of impeachment that she ripped up. I don't know, whatever. Hey, Deb, how are you? So, but can you imagine? I mean, one of the things as a parent that you do is teach your children how to behave in public. You can cry in private or you can be cranky at home, but when we get in public, you behave yourself. What kind of behavior, what kind of example is that other than a petulant child? That was ridiculous. Like I said before, I'll say again, the Democrat Party is toast. They are done. They may not look like it, but they are done. They're finished. They're not going to rise again, and they are going to lose the House. They're going to lose seats in the Senate, and they all look like fools. They look like the jackasses of their mascot, and you realize why their mascot is a jackass. That's who they are. That's what they are. They cannot. I won't say they're hopeless, but can you imagine Nancy Pelosi? I believe that this will be her last State of the Union. But it won't be. This is her legacy. This is Nancy Pelosi's legacy, ripping up the State of the Union address. One of the men who was there, whose brother had been killed by the illegal alien who had been charged with a DUI earlier and had other charges, said it was like he was ripping out their heart because his brother's story was in those pages. The story of the, Tuskegee Airmen were in those pages. It's just ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. And so today, in approximately 1 hour from now, the senators are going to vote guilty, not guilty for the president. This is the biggest sham of an impeachment we've ever seen. Before, I was expecting us to get a few Democrat votes, and now, after realizing that Mitt Romney is actually going to vote guilty, and Doug Jones is going to vote guilty, I said we were going to get 55 votes. Since I said it, I have to stick with it. But now I'm thinking it's going to be closer to 51-49 or whatever. But he will be acquitted. And in time, I'm going to tell you, when all of the truth comes out, and it will, those Democrats are going to feel foolish. They won't admit it, but they are going to feel foolish. There is so much information out there about the truth with Ukraine. I was listening to John Solomon's podcast yesterday about the fact that, they kept saying the president was pressuring Ukraine to do this investigation. And the truth is Ukraine had been actually pressuring the United States to do this investigation. They wanted to reopen the investigation and they needed our help. And they hired a U.S. attorney to help them and ran into roadblocks with the DOJ and ended up sending it to Rudy Giuliani. They are the ones who were trying to get this investigation going. So I don't know. Hey, yeah, but yeah, she's evil. Absolutely, it is evil. And I said it before, and as I said, I'll say it again. A lot of people use that word and they just kind of mean they're mean or they're nasty or whatever. No, it's evil. Evil is as evil does. And people are shocked that I'm kind of shocked that she did that. I knew she was going to do something. I knew she was going to sit there with a sour expression on her face. And I don't know if anybody heard, I saw the Democrat women, all wearing white and as if, and they were all chanting something, yelling something. I could not quite understand what they were saying, and I haven't heard anybody talk about it. So it's good to see you too. Thank you. But at any rate, my prayer was that he would give the best speech of his life. I feel as if my prayers were answered. He did. He was amazing, and he didn't say anything about impeachment. I did like the fact that he said the only thing that we should do in Congress, the only vote that matters is that helps the American people. And, that's true. That's true. There were so many wonderful moments about that whole speech. And then today, of course, they're going to vote. As I was saying, Mitt Romney has already said he's going to vote guilty. Doug Jones of Alabama said he's going to vote guilty. He's out of there. He's not going to be reelected. Heard through the grapevine. I don't know. It's like the vice president said. He thought she'd planned it because he said it just seemed that way. He said he didn't actually see her, I guess, at the moment because he's looking forward. He was being appropriate. She was totally inappropriate. I've never seen anything like that. She's just totally gone. She should resign, but of course they'll hail her as chief or something. She thinks she's president. She wants to be president, but she's not. So too bad. So at any rate, he'll be acquitted. But as I was saying, There's so much information that needs to come out about this whole situation with Ukraine and all of the Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and etc. That when it comes out, they won't be embarrassed, but they should be embarrassed. They should be totally embarrassed. One of the things that I wanted to say, I wanted to talk about primaries because a lot of people don't vote in primaries because why? I was very impressed with the Iowa caucus, not the Democrat part. But that's another side of oh my goodness, what a gift. As somebody said, there's the president's next ad right there, the Iowa caucus. They just didn't want Bernie Sanders to win, which he won. So they're trying to figure out how to make it not Bernie Sanders win. But it just, talk about confusion and not knowing what they're doing, and the app that fell apart, supposedly. Who knows? We may never know. Like I said, weeks from now, they may go, oh, by the way, Bernie Sanders won the Iowa caucus. We finally counted the votes, because they're trying to take away his momentum and they don't want him to be the nominee. I don't really know exactly who they want to be the nominee. Is probably Hillary, but that's a whole nother issue. But one of the things that I was impressed with at the Iowa caucus on the Republican side, it's the primary, the caucus, whatever. The president's got this. We all know that. But there was a show of force in Iowa. The Republicans came out in way larger numbers than they expected them to. They went out to show their support for their president. We are behind you. We love you. We are going to vote for you. And they held their caucuses. And Don Jr. and Eric and Ivanka and Pascal, they were all there. They were all present. They sent this plane full of people. And I thought that was, at first I thought, well, it was great, because they showed up and said, we're supporting our president. We are behind you. The whole team was there. It's not like, Brad Pascal was going to ignore this thing. But I did see some clips of it, and I found it interesting. Joe Walsh, a former congressman, has decided to run for president. And his campaign is, I'll do everything Donald Trump is doing, but I am decent. In other words, I'm not going to use any curse words, and I'm not going to say bad things about other people, but I'm going to do exactly what he's doing. And then he said, you don't want 4 more years of the Trump show. And everybody in the room shouted, yes, we do. And I thought, what an idiot. Did he really think that was going to have any play with these people? What a dodo head he is. But I used to rewind. They absolutely, they did. They showed total disrespect for America. That's a good point. They absolutely showed no respect for our country, no respect for 100-year-old Tuskegee Airmen. I mean, what? A 2-year-old child. This young girl wanting to go to school. I mean, I understand them not liking Rush Limbaugh because he's such a conservative, such a strong conservative voice. But geez, what the heck? These people are idiots. They're done. The Democrat Party is toast. It's just a matter of, it's kind of like on life support. It's just a matter of somebody needs to pull the plug already. And we need to pull the plug. I want to get back to primaries. People don't want to vote in primaries because they think, first of all, the president is really technically the only person running. But the down ballot races, it is so, so, so important, in my opinion, to show up at the primaries in force and vote for our president, to show the world, that we are behind him, that we're coming out. The numbers speak volumes. The media would say, well, only 100 people. No, we want to show the world that we're there, that we speak out, that we have a voice. And even though it's the primary, the numbers look good for him. The vote looks good for him. And it sends a message to the media, although they'll never get it. But the other reason is that we need to send our strongest candidates in some of these races. Some of these, House races or whatever, you might have 3 or 4 or 5 Republicans running. Look up who they are and what they've done and whatever, and vote for the best person who can beat the Democrat, in the elections. And let's be strong, because when not very many people show up for primaries, you're leaving the decision of who's going to run against the Democrat in the hands of very few people. So I have always voted. I did not vote one time in my life, and I thought my father was going to excommunicate me from the family. But I've always voted, but I never really realized how important it was before to make sure that we have a very strong candidate in whatever race it is, in whatever level race it is. I mean, some of these rhino Republicans, I don't support. I will support any Republican running for a seat if they support my president. If they are pro-Trump, if they say they're pro-Trump, then I do that. Yeah, Pelosi should be impeached and removed. Well, she should be, but that's the best thing that could happen to Nancy Pelosi is for the Republicans to take over the House in 2020. Nothing's going to happen to her before then. I mean, it's not going to happen. However, we did see a story today that FBI Director Christopher Wray has referred all of the FBI agents who were involved in the FISA warrants to the disciplinary office of the FBI. Now, what comes of it? I don't know, but at least they've been referred. At least he has admitted these people did something wrong and they need to go through the disciplinary office. Now, whether they get a slap on the hand, whether they get demoted, whether they get fired, whatever, in my mind, they should all be in jail, but at least something is happening. At least we're seeing some action taken on that FISA debacle. That thing is just horrible. The whole thing, this entire mess that we have. And I hate to go back to 2018, but we dropped the ball in 2018 and we let these Democrats be elected. And we just can't do that in 2020. We have to show for it. That's why it's so important the primaries are. Doug Jones has said he is going to vote guilty. That's death knell to him. I mean, he's Alabama. He took Jeff Sessions' seat. He does not want to be reelected, apparently, because that's just stupidity on his part. And Jeff Sessions is running to take his seat back. It's like Doug Jones has said, okay, I'll give it to you, because he's done. He's toast. I think it's over. Yeah, I know. Mitt Romney, I don't know if you missed that, but I started talking about Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney might as well become a Democrat. I mean, really, except for, I think the only votes that he is confirming judges, I think he's voted for. But other than that, he's just done. I really wish. People keep saying they need to recall him. I have no idea if Utah has a recall ability or anything in play with that, but gosh, I would like to see him gone. And here he's just like Nancy Pelosi. I said Nancy Pelosi and Mitt Romney should sit together in the next speech or whatever, and they can trade knowing glances and, laugh and yuck it up and say nonsensical stuff to each other. But Sessions will get, I hope he does. I don't think there's anybody else to. I definitely think that he will get his endorsement. A lot of people had Mueller investigation questioning when voting in 20. I shouldn't say I don't. I spend a lot of time doing research on this stuff, so I guess I may be a little more knowledgeable, but that whole thing from the beginning was a bunch of malarkey, and it just seems like it should have been obvious, but I guess it wasn't. I think a lot of people thought it was possible, but I saw that the president's approval rating is 49, which really means it's probably 59 or something, but the GOP's approval rating is 50. Now, it's been in the 20s forever. And because they stood with Trump, they need to understand that if they stand with our president, if they fight with our president, like the House did, and support him, that they do well. It's when they get all wimpy wampy and, oh, he shouldn't have said that, and, well, I don't approve of this, and whatever. He shouldn't tweet so much, and they need to learn to stand. And I hope they've learned that they need to stand with him. I know a lot of them don't like him. I don't really care, but when you look at, like, Rand Paul, for instance, Rand Paul ran against him for president, and he beat Rand Paul up pretty bad. But Rand Paul is in there fighting for him when he agrees with him. Now, Rand Paul will disagree with him, and that's his right, of course. But, they're in there fighting for this man who beat them, for president. And yet you look at Mitt Romney, whom Donald Trump endorsed in 2012, campaigned for in 2012, and helped all of that stuff, and helped him get his Senate seat. So then he turns around and just stabs the man in the back because he's jealous, I guess. He's not president, and he didn't get to be Secretary of State, and maybe he just can't handle that. I don't know. Well, that's true. But, well, thank you. I'm trying to understand what you mean, Sue. He wouldn't pick before. You mean he wouldn't, because they were both. Doug Jones is a Democrat. I'm not sure. Are you talking about Doug Jones? He would never have endorsed Doug Jones. He's a Democrat. So I'm not sure if that's who you're talking about. I don't know. I got to go back up. I don't want to go back up and read. But in any case, I just really wanted to touch base and say, great State of the Union speech. The other guy, when you say the other guy, Doug Jones is the present senator of Alabama who took Sessions' seat. Doug Jones is a Democrat. So I'm trying to understand, when you say the other guy, can you clarify who you mean? I'm not following you. So he would never. Okay. Because he would never endorse Doug Jones. He's a Democrat, and he's against the president on a lot of things. In Alabama, he should be more, but they've just dug their heels. And Kirsten Sinema, who I thought might vote not guilty, is also going to vote guilty. I don't know about Joe Manchin yet. I haven't heard anything about him. I think the Democrats have decided now that they're going to all stick together, and I don't know that we're going to end up getting any Democrat votes, and they're going to tout the fact that Mitt Romney, didn't vote, isn't voting not guilty. So I don't know. It's we're yet to see. It's supposed to take place at 4:00. So, I see. Gosh, if there is, I don't know who it is. I can look that up, but I don't. I hadn't heard of anybody running against Sessions, and then there may be. I just don't know. I apologize for not knowing that. I'll have to look that up. I thought you were talking about Doug Jones, who beat out Roy Moore because of the ridiculous Kavanaugh stuff they pulled on him. And I did notice that the SOTU, I keep calling it SOTU, which is what it is, a State of the Union speech, that both Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, which is unusual for the Supreme Court justices, they shook his hand, and I heard them say great, or looked like they said great speech or good job. So I thought that was good. Yeah, okay. So, I don't know. If he is, I don't know his name. And if I don't know his name, then that means he hasn't made any kind of splash across the transom. So that's all I can say about that. But hold on to your hats and coats, because right after the SOTU, I heard some of the Democrats say they're going to continue to impeach him. Adam Schiff said that they have decided to subpoena Bolton. They're going to get more witnesses. They're going to get more stuff. It's not going to happen. They can keep trying and keep trying. They're just making themselves look bad, and they're digging a deeper and deeper and deeper hole for themselves. I saw a lot of Democrats and independents coming out saying, that's it. I'm voting Trump. I'm not standing with the Democrats. I'm a lifelong Democrat, voted Democrat my whole life, all of this kind of stuff. They called into C-SPAN and we're saying, I'm done. I've never been, I personally, if I was Democrat, I would be embarrassed by their behavior. I would absolutely be embarrassed. And I would be, you better believe, I would be calling them and emailing them and telling them, what the heck is your problem? My children would be, grounded for a month if they behaved that way. Right? I just couldn't believe it. But keep praying for our president, keep praying for our country. And it's going to be interesting to see how this vote comes out. It's also going to be interesting to see what happens with the FBI members who have been referred to without documents. He said, actually, we have way more proof. Trump has way more proof on his side. They just won't let that proof come out. At least the Democrats won't let it come out. But there's way more proof on his side. Trust me when I say that. And when it comes out, and it will come out, they're going to look like idiots. They're just going to look stupid again. This is like the Russia collusion, delusion hoax. They kept saying they had all this evidence, they had all this stuff. They had absolutely nothing. And as hard as they tried, and Bob Mueller had 18, as the president referred to them as 18 angry Democrats who wanted so badly to find something wrong. And they found almost nothing. And they worked for so long to do it. So there's nothing there. The truth will come out. And I'm hoping that all the rumors about these indictments we keep hearing about, once this vote, not guilty vote takes place, they'll come forward and some people will be arrested. And these FBI agents will have something done to them that you don't refer them for disciplinary office for nothing. So God is on the side of truth, and truth is what we have. And with that, I think that I am going to close this out until next week. And I may do some videos in between now and then. But as always, Manchin probably stick to the party. Well, West Virginia went for the president pretty strongly. I've been sort of surprised at Manchin, but he's got some bone to pick with somebody, or he's just afraid. They keep talking about primarying these people. I don't think they need to worry about being primaried by another Democrat. I think they need to worry about losing their seat to a Republican, to be honest with you. I think West Virginia, if he does, this will be it for him. He's done. Joe Manchin won't be able to. West Virginians will never forgive him for that. So I don't know. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for sticking with me, and God bless. I always want to begin with prayer, and I always want to end with God bless our president, Donald John Trump. God bless America, and God bless all of you. Thank you. Until next time, I'll have more to say about that. Bye.